Oh no, God, no! You're probably wondering how I got here. $51,000 in my pocket and the entire police force hunting me down, and I was about to lose it all. And it was all thanks to you guys. Because of your overwhelming support on my first Need for Speed video predicting Unbound's success, I thought I'd drop my own review of it. Some people said that you shouldn't predict how a game will be before it's launched or before you've even beaten it, which is ridiculous. I mean, look at what IGN does. Do they even play video games anymore? With my 30 plus years of gaming experience and being 3,000 years old myself, my game predictions are pretty damn accurate, and Unbound lives up to the hype, being what many consider to be Need for Speed's best title since 2008's Pro Street. It's got a little bit of every past great Need for Speed in it, but it's lacking elements from its best title, Most Wanted, 2005. I'm going to be sharing my unique thoughts about where Unbound falls short, and it's got some interesting problems. And I've got a secret weapon, you guys. With close to 900 comments on my first video, I'm going to be taking into account everything that you guys shared, all of your concerns into this review here. So bring Rocky in here. Get in here, Rocky. Let's get this shindig started. You're in a video game, Rocky. You're in a video game.
Damn.
Oh, all you care about is the car, huh? When you load up Unbound, you're introduced to Rocky's new single that opens the game, and this whole sequence is absolute hype. After creating your character and choosing a starter car, you jump into the story where you and your friend Yaz work for a guy named Rydell in his auto mechanic shop. This setup is really enjoyable, but the story quickly devolves and has been mine and everyone's main annoyance with this game. This fella in my last video said there wouldn't be any girls in bikinis in Unbound, and damn was he right. Not that scantily clad women are necessary for a good racing game, but it's one of many things that show how far Need for Speed is distancing itself from its past great titles. And it's not for the best.
Hey, watch for me, Brooke Burke, this fall in the new Need for Speed Underground 2 from EA Games. Everything in the Bayview race scene goes through me. Basically, a sexy, confident, tough, very streetwise.
Because Unbound's story is PC woke baloney.
Bolt on or not, that ride is hot.
This is Mia, and she's about to stand up to one of the biggest SOBs in Need for Speed history, Razor Callahan.
You obviously don't know your car, sweetheart.
I know your ride doesn't have a chance.
My 60-footer, quarter mile, whatever you want to throw on the table, smokes anything here, including this pump gas kit car.
Well, then where's your punk money then?
Now, what do you think is better, that or this?
Yeah, I was like, yo, bro. And yo, check this, bro. He was all like, if you know, bro. And you know what I said? Bro!
It makes the Fast and Furious movies look like The Godfather. How'd you get a car in here, Dom? The character's writing could be compared to the Saints Row reboot. Every line they say has to be funny or witty, like it's trying to be the Avengers.
Name's Rudiger. I need to get to my safe house. Now. Wow, Rudiger, no foreplay, huh?
Take a stand. Vote for no one.
Vote for no one? That's not a solution. Wait, who am I talking to? Oh, goody. More tech billionaires. Just what the lake needed.
There's also this ongoing joke in the game about a possum being in the garage, and they think it's the funniest thing ever, and they keep reusing it over and over throughout the entire game. It's awful.
Oh, I cleaned out the storeroom, and dude, you were right. It's a possum, not a rat. So, yeah.
Do you have a pet chinchilla or like a possum?
Yes, you're a survivor. You've made some bad decisions, sure, but we all have. Like, I let that possum nest in the garage way too long.
Huh?
Nothing.
And that is why you should never feed a possum ice cream. Somebody's gonna have to clean that up. On today's episode, I'll be looking at how this was allowed to go through without facing the public.
Yeah, wait. Why shouldn't you feed a possum ice cream?
They can't ever be serious, and even in the serious moments, they try to make it funny. In this one scene, I'm driving up to this big race, and it should be this big, epic event, but the characters take you out of the moment with this cheesy, lame humor.
Hey kid, whatever happens with Jasmine tonight, let's just show him what this garage is made of. That little present, Check your glove compartment.
What's this?
Baby powder.
Honestly, I'm afraid to ask.
And even if we lose, you know we always have each other. The garage is your home.
I know. And the possums. Don't forget the possum.
It's throughout the entire game where these characters don't take the reality of what they're doing seriously. In 2005's Most Wanted, the reality of being a street racer is a serious thing, and the characters treat it as such, and that's what makes it fun.
I need your pink slip. He's dangerous. Be careful, he'll swat paint if he has to.
First, I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for that.
Damn!
Stay focused. He's rolling on a lot of power, so wait for him to shift first.
Whew. I felt that.
In Unbound, the overarching theme of the game is street racing is my art and my expression.
The need to express oneself behind the wheel.
Tonight, I'm talking about gaslighting. It needs to stop. These racers are being treated like hardened criminals. Most are just young people looking for a way to express themselves in a city that's continually marginalizing them.
What?
No, it's illegal, criminal, and highly dangerous. I'm putting my life and other drivers' lives in jeopardy. That's honestly what makes it fun in a video game, and why it's glamorized in film and TV as well. The characters are constantly pushing out this narrative that the city and its police shouldn't be clamping down on them for street racing.
Cops on some power trip running racers off the road. Is it necessary?
Speak the truth, Lake Lab.
You know, now more than ever, we need to back the boys in blue as they protect us from those who treat Lakeshore like their own personal playground. From graffiti to street racing, these illicit activities are tearing our once great city apart like wet tissue paper.
Exactly what we need. More cops who hate racers on the streets.
It is. The mayor's speech about the race, the cops coming down harder, it's
violating the Constitution is what it is.
I was scared the cops in this town have stepped up their game. Like they're on some kind of mission.
Oh, what do you mean?
Part of some campaign the mayor is running.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be making many friends around the lake, does she?
Power always corrupts. Mark my words, one day those at the bottom are gonna eat those at the top.
Yeah, I prefer my meals with a little more moral fiber.
Come on over here, all right? I ain't gonna hit you. I've been trying. I know.
In Unbound City, Lakeshore, there's a surge of street racers coming from all around the world to partake in races every day and every night, all around the city, causing damage to the streets, endangering lives. So it's not your art or expression. You're not an art student. You're a criminal. It's like if Trevor from GTA 5 said that stealing and killing people was his art and expression, so it's okay. You can't do that, man. Like, us gamers know better.
So, you into art?
Shut the fuck up!
So the fantasy of being a street racer in Unbound is ruined by the writers incessantly pushing this idea that street racing is acceptable. Meanwhile, the entire police force is searching for you day in, day out, constantly. But that's never really a big deal to the characters. Welcome to the hottest game show in America. I'm not a street racing criminal. I'm an artist. We've got some good contestants today, folks. Welcome to the show, folks. First up, contestant we have here is Waru, who's from Australia. He believes in equality and community. Good shit, Waru. Next up is Eleanor, who loves fashion and artwork, and her racing style is elegant. Fantastic, Eleanor. Next up is Maya, who's more than likely to call you at 4 a.m. and suggest flying to Paris, then turn up for dinner. Oh, you funny bastard. And we have Obi, a boy who has boy's charm and sunny disposition, and loves goth culture and music. Someday he hopes to become a doctor. Chilton loves music, and his dad used to play in a ska band. Boost is shy and a fan of anime. Ross delivers pizza. Rydell sometimes says the cops are out in full force today, but it's only really felt in gameplay, not in the narrative and not with the characters.
They just arrested a bunch of racers.
You'd think they'd have better things to do.
I would have really loved for these punk-ass, spoiled brats to be pulled over by Sergeant Cross.
Good idea. Let me tell you what's about to happen. We're gonna take your car, tear it apart, and see if it's street legal. You know, I'd lay odds that it ain't. Get a record down here.
Looks like your racing days are over.
Street racing's just our expression, officers. We're just artists, officer. I believe in equality and community. Street racing is my expression, goddammit. It's as if this game was written by an older, out-of-touch generation that is doing an impression of what they think Zoomers are like. In one side mission, you have to deliver the legendary BMW M3 that's been featured throughout this franchise, and you have to deliver it to Razor, who's just been released from prison. Last time we saw him was in 2005. This long-form storytelling could be incredible, but the characters say this, and it summarizes the entire theme of this story and Unbound's world.
Client's really happy we got that car for them.
Maybe because I've done a lot of these, but, you know, I got a weird sense I'd done this in a past life or something.
I found out some background on this one.
Oh, yeah?
Some guy just got released from jail, and the first thing he wanted was this car.
Well, he's got it now.
Hopefully that's the last we hear from him. He sounded like he meant business.
I feel like we're living on the razor's edge with some of these collections. That one felt a little too dangerous, even for us.
No, it's too dangerous for you, not me. Delivering this legendary vehicle to Razor and then stating it's too dangerous for the main characters shows the road where this franchise will lead, and it's far away from what made the past titles great.
Guess who's back?
Hiding behind the idea that the gaming world is too sensitive and that you wouldn't be able to make a game like that these days is a total cop-out. It's the reason why your game is getting mid-reviews as opposed to the high praise of your past titles. You failed, EA, and that's your choice, because you actually would have made more money had you made a serious and dangerous product. Because the people want Razor, not some spoiled social media brat.
People loving this drama.
When the characters are complaining about the rich,
right, one Testarossa is gonna end up in some rich asshole's personal museum.
Yet making over $100,000 a day cash, the finger pointing and hypocrisy is crazy.
I love big money.
Then when your character willingly signs up to do a mission where there will be cops chasing you, they complain.
Tess!
Dee, excellent work. Customer just called and sounded very happy.
You know, Tess, these are getting tougher.
Well, the owner wanted to see how it handled under pressure from the LPD.
And what if I fail?
Your main character in the game is portrayed as a weak, complaining loser.
You betting against me?
Yo, how's my golden goose?
Do you know how demeaning that is?
That's why you're my number one.
Yet you treat me like a number two.
You know those coconuts are actually glued into place, right?
Like, do you even care about my well-being?
The car, what's gonna happen on the finale of Dance Pugs?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Who do you think's gonna win?
Me.
On Dance Pugs?
Tess!
He built it so you could bounce those guys around. You know, like bumper cars.
Bumper cars?
The plot is an absolute mess and never evolves past this melodrama between these four characters. In the end, there is no villain to this game. That's right, you never meet the villain, Alec, who was talked about all game.
Looks like Alec replaced me already. That Alec guy who set up the race?
How's Alec?
I'm sure Alec isn't thrilled that his cars are going missing.
You know, you better dip before I tell Alec.
Oh, Alec.
Alec.
So she was working for Alec.
Yeah, you never meet that guy in the game. Now wait a minute, Grimm, weren't you saying that this is a comeback for the Need for Speed franchise? Strangely, yes. The story is a bloody, brutal mess, but the gameplay is one of the most fun experiences I've had in a racing game in a long time, and it's the reason why Unbound is being enjoyed by so many people. And I think it comes down to this incredibly fun risk and reward system. The best thing about Unbound is that you're not racing to come in first place. You're racing purely for cash. So taking second or third place in a race is sometimes fine, and it's so refreshing. I can't remember how many times I'd be in first place in past NFS titles and make one wrong move at the end and lose the race, and have to redo it from the beginning. The game days are broken up into day and night cycles. You can do as many races as you want within a day, then return to the garage or safe house and cue the night cycle, where you can do as many races as you want at night. Every race you do adds heat to the heat meter, and follows through from the day to the night, so there's some serious strategy involved if you do want to avoid constant 5-star police chases and maximize your profits. With 4 race restarts on normal difficulty and only 2 restarts on hard, you really have to gauge when to use them. maybe taking third place in a race is okay if you've already used half of your restarts and it's only the day cycle. With the restarts carrying through to the night and only resetting on the next game day, and most races costing a buy-in fee, it really has an addictive quality to it, and the grind for cash is seriously fun. Within a day or night cycle, all the cash you make is on your person until you go to the safe house or garage, so the more you race, the more police you attract. So if you're busted by the cops or the cops bring your vehicle down to 0 health, you'll lose all that money. I don't know if it was intentional that the cops in Unbound are god-tier racers or essentially man-tracker, but escaping from them is one of the most challenging experiences I've ever had in a racing game. You essentially have to become Splinter Cell. It's like playing Pac-Man on God of War difficulty. After almost every race, there's a chase sequence that will test you in ways you never thought possible.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I swear that they could read my GPS waypoint because they would keep spawning all over, all around you, wherever you go. And when you're at max level heat, choppers follow you, armor units, interceptors, undercover cops who don't appear on the radar. They'll smash into you so aggressively, it just never stops being jarring. You end up developing a real fear of the cops in this game, slamming the brakes on when you see one appear and trying to maneuver away. Sometimes you're hiding in a garage with the engine off while the cops roam around you like literal monsters as you hold your breath and pray they don't see you. Some people are complaining about the difficulty, but it's seriously awesome. I love the challenge of trying to escape. It really adds that extra spice, and escaping the cops is just as big of a part of Unbound as the races are. By the end of the game, you become a hardened getaway driver, just like Ryan Gosling in Drive.
Drive, Ryan, drive. I think we lost him.
Find this asshole.
Nice driving, Ryan. A lot of you were concerned about the racing physics and how it would feel. I mean, that is the most important part, right? Kick his ass, kick his ass.
The racing physics feel great. While it's no Forza simulation, I appreciated how the muscle cars felt in contrast to the tuners. Every car has a different feel to it, and it's so much fun tweaking them just right to fit your playstyle. The handling feels fantastic. Drifting is fun, and it doesn't take away too much from the momentum, but if you dislike drifting, you can bypass it entirely and tune your car to a grip build, or perhaps a hybrid of both. I had a blast trying to find that perfect feeling for each ride I worked on. My Mitsubishi was a drifting god, while I could not get my Crown Vic to feel right for me, so later I bought a Testarossa and replaced it. Because Unbound is made by Criterion, who made the Burnout games, there are crashes.
Bumper cars!
They look great though, and they don't feel over the top, though sometimes you'll bump a car and get an unwarranted crash sequence, but mostly I feel like they don't deter from a race too much. Another thing that people are kind of divided on is the car flying, but I loved it, man. It was always a blast.
Bridge. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I shit my pants.
Customization.
Because you can only use 4 vehicles in the grand finale of the story, it's less about collecting them and more about perfecting them. Huh? That's a pretty cool line, right? Huh? Wait. Who am I talking to?
Who am I talking to?
I really got into the customization, spending hours putting on way too many stickers and decals and going through each car's body parts. Aesthetics are its strong suit, and it heavily reminds me of Underground 1 and 2, though there can always be room for more customization options, and I think they should have doubled down and put twice as many of everything in the game.
The engine customization was fun and fine, though not close to the depth of Gran Turismo, of course. But at the end of the day, each car really felt like it was mine, and I developed a real bond with each vehicle, having to soup it up from scratch and compete with them in the grand finale. The car catalog is nice too, with over 140 cars currently in the game. I had my Pontiac Firebird from the start of the game and ended up putting Grimm Gang on every vehicle because you gotta represent, baby. The soundtrack was so interesting. I don't know why they went with this choice, but it was super cool. The industry is hailing them as absolutely revolutionary as they went with a medieval theme, a kind of a Skyrim, vibe with the sexy elven women singing. No, it's hip hop. They went full hip hop, obviously. I enjoyed it for a bit, but after a while I did have to turn it off and just have no music in the game because the repetition of the songs drove me nuts. A lot of y'all mentioned in my first Unbound video discussing how Underground 2 had a really diverse playlist. Well, that diversity of genre is needed in Unbound, especially for a game that preaches diversity again. It's sadly not seen in the soundtrack. I can only listen to Cardi's Slayer so many times in one night, and it's never enough. Hit that shit, Cardi. I don't even know what these sounds are, but they're delightful. Oh, Jesus. ASAP's involvement with the game was surprisingly minimal after seeing him as the face of their marketing campaigns. In the game, he essentially runs takeovers, which is a type of drifting, speed, destruction kind of event with the tagline, "Drive it like you stole it." These missions are basically free money, and after the first 2 times of his cutscenes, you'll eventually just skip over them because they do repeat the same cutscenes over and over and over.
That's how you do it? See, I was rooting for you too, man. You made me proud.
He's also in one side mission where you are his driver, and he talks about how he's normal just like you.
People don't get to know that I'm human just like them. I'm just as normal as everyone else.
You remember in Dev Jam how you made your own fighter and you were on the level of the other rappers? They never treated you like a nameless fan, but in this game you're just some chump next to Rocky.
Man, can't believe this is happening. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. It's not every day you're sitting next to A$AP Rocky. I'm actually pretty nervous.
I don't want to play as a character who's in awe of Rocky. I want to play on a game where I'm on the same ground, where we're on the same level. That's what's fun. Like in Def Jam or really any other game does that, but Unbound constantly makes you feel like you're an extra in everybody else's world and they're the hero.
Well, that's funny because from what I see, it seemed like you spent all your time arguing with your former teammate. That don't really sound like a contender to me, dog.
They really underutilized Rocky in this game, and I think it's only exciting for the biggest Rocky fans, and maybe some aspiring musicians could use fragments of his advice.
Well, I'm speaking to the youth. I'm speaking to the youth, and I'm speaking to people of all different backgrounds. We all share the same thing, which is struggle. And for anybody struggling, I just want some words of encouragement. Creating your own path for your own destiny, and not giving up. Yeah, I think the hard work is key. Obviously, man, it's all about not compromising. It's about fulfilling what you set out to do.
But I think we'd all agree it would have been cooler had he been a bigger part of the story, though it is neat seeing him in the races and competing against him in the later portion of the game. But why not, instead of these cringe racers, we get a whole cast of rappers? Imagine racing against not just Rocky, but Cardi, Lil Uzi, DaBaby, Young Gravy, Wiz Khalifa, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, the guy that did Chocolate Rain, me. EA, you're sitting on a gold mine here. You know how much money you'd make if you made the Def Jam Fight for New York racing game? Jimmy, get out of my shot, please. Now, the controversial art style of the game. This has really divided people. First off, the character's art style is done in this cel-shaded cartoon with anime elements, but the city and the cars look realistic. It's a really nice balance, and I think it's a really cool art direction. The cars look slick, and the day and night cycles are really beautiful. But a lot of y'all wondered if we could turn the car effects off. A lot of people just don't like them. Personally, I love them, and I wanted there to be a larger catalog of effects to choose from. I don't feel like they take away from the racing, and they fit in perfectly with the theme of the game. It really gave drifting some real mojo. That said, if someone wants to turn them off, why not? But you're actually unable to in the game, which is a bummer for those who dislike them, especially when the devs announced that you could remove them. The closest thing to removing them, though, is to have this cloaked effect, which honestly, I think it's the nicest looking effect anyway. The city is really slick and feels alive with pedestrians and a good amount of traffic. Not too much, but not too little. There's a downtown area, highways, a storm drain that is sanctuary from the popo.
Cringe.
And this sloping valley area that really reminded me of Carbon. The races use playlists, meaning that you'll see the same race over and over again, but it's enjoyable because you end up learning the maps and how to race them best.
After beating the story, I imagine that they'd pour in some time to make the multiplayer great. It, however, falls flat.
You started out and it's a completely separate mode. The cars that you won in the story mode are transferred to your multiplayer garage and you essentially start from scratch. So that's cool. Okay, so you sell some of the cars, build up a couple of rides, and go out into this free roam lobby that is capped out at 16 players. 16! On the map, there's different playlists, and when you queue one up, you're only inviting the other 15 players in the lobby to your race. So it's not an open public queue. So if no one in the lobby wants to race that tier or do your tracks, you essentially can't play. You have to get lucky and hope that the lobby wants to do your playlist. Sometimes you'll only get one person and it's just a head-to-head race. The most I got was 3 other people in a race. There's also no cops in online. They stated that they'd add them later, and that's the same with betting. You can't bet against the other drivers. What the hell? But there's gotta be more than 16 people in a lobby or public queues for playlists. I left and joined 3 different lobbies because no one wanted to compete in my races. It's kind of like if you're not a part of a Discord community or have friends that already have the game, you're not going to have a great time with the multiplayer. You should be able to challenge racers on the spot if you see them as well. Lastly, there's no voice chat in multiplayer unless you join a party together, so you can't talk shit to the other drivers in the race randomly, which was a huge element in the story. You'd have the other racers smack talking you the whole track.
I hope you've got plenty of money left. First is everything, darling.
It was fun, albeit a little repetitive at times, but you think they'd let you continue that. With GTA Online being out for so many years, you think they'd have a real template of what to do to create an immersive multiplayer world, but it honestly feels tacked on, and I was actually heavily disappointed at the lack of gameplay systems within the multiplayer.
Well, that's it. That's the whole shebang, baby. Did I enjoy playing Need for Speed Unbound? Yeah, I did, strangely. I know, I just shit on the game for like 30 minutes straight, but, is it worth full price? No. Hell no. Hell to the no. It's not worth full price. Is it worth half price? If you are jonesing for a refreshing street racing experience, well, the risk and reward system in it, the grind for cash, the difficulty of the cops, and not having to win every race, that gameplay loop is a lot of fun, and it's the main reason I had a blast with this game. If it's $20, I definitely recommend it. If you can overlook the insultingly, disturbingly cringe story, and if you like the art and effects, then it's definitely worth $20. So yeah, I had a fun time, but where do we go from here?
I don't know. Put a crew together, save the world, race home, pop a cold one, talk about family.
I hate you.
Barbecue. The same thing, only different like 8-9 times.
You're the worst person.
Let's show them how we do things in the lake.
No, fuck off. This franchise is a fork in the road. Will we get Unbound 2 or Most Wanted 2 next? Will EA and Need for Speed continue with this woke baloney? Or will we get an actually compelling story? I'll answer that in a future video, but for now, I never ever want to hear another Possum joke again.
Oh no, is the Possum back? And did he bring his possum friends with him?